experts here today have practical experience on the CTR and will do their best to answer your questions on this topic. We will also share some tips on how to best prepare for making this process a smooth experience. So today we have the pleasure of chatting with Gail Price and Jeanette Hernandez. What are the different types of requests for information that exist?
Yeah, of course. So in fact, the regulation doesn't define different types of RFIs, but for training purposes, we define two main types of RFIs. So the first one are the clinical trial application RFIs, which are RFIs that are raised during the evaluation phase of your CTA. And the particularity of these RFIs is that if you don't respond to these RFIs during the timelines that has been granted by the member states, your application will lapse. The second type of RFI is the clinical trial RFI, which mainly concerns the RFI that you may receive once your application has already been approved, so during an ad hoc assessment or when you submit an annual progress report, for example.
Who has asked, when assessing the initial clinical trial application, additional data to part 1 may be requested, which is the case of IMPD or IBs, would often necessitate performing additional tests, experiments, or measurements. This has typically been the case in particular for ATMPs that were used in clinical trials for first-in-human testing. So I guess the question is related to the fact that you would have, in order to obtain that new data and answer such RFIs, it could take quite a long time, and it's a little bit out of the sponsor's control, maybe. So how would you deal with such a situation? Will it automatically result in some kind of clinical trial application assessment suspension? Could you elaborate a little bit on this type of scenario?
Yeah, I think that I can start, and Gail, if you wish to add something else, I will rely on you. So yeah, I think that I had a similar experience in the past. So yeah, the sponsor submitted a commitment as part of their response, saying that they will perform the required test and provide afterwards to the authorities with the information as soon as they are available. So this kind of response was accepted by the concerned competent authority, and the trial was authorized. So I think that there is important to say that if the member state concerned considers that it is acceptable and the balance of the risk-benefit is positive at the time of the authorization, the clinical trial can be conditional authorized.